Hello students, today we are going to study bile pigment metabolism, and here we will know that what is bile pigment and how these bile pigments are metabolized, how they are formed. So let's start that what is the bile pigment. Bilirubin is a bile pigment. In our body, bilirubin molecules normally they are called as a bile pigment because they gives the color to the bile. Bile is a the juice which are produced by the liver, and it's stored in gallbladder, and it helps in the digestion of the fat. So the color of the bile, the pigment of the bile is a bilirubin. Bilirubin is a waste product which is not required by our body, and the color of bilirubin is it's an orange yellow color. The formation of the bilirubin takes place because of the breakdown of the normal breakdown of red blood cells. Excretion of the bilirubin occurs when the bilirubin passes through the liver, and then when it is metabolized in the liver, then and is eventually excreted out of the body. Bilirubin test can help you to diagnose jaundice. Higher than normal level may indicate different types of liver or other problems. So this is the the level of bilirubin in the blood, which may help you to differentiate the types of liver disease, or if there is other problems, or it may help you to diagnose different types of jaundice. Let's know about bilirubin chemistry. Bilirubin chemically, if you see the structure, it's a linear tetrapyrrole molecule and is insoluble in water. It may become soluble in variety of non-polar solvents, and it has two type of structure, trans and cis isomers. So it has both trans and cis isomers of bilirubin. When exposed to light, bilirubin trans configuration is converted to cis configuration, and bilirubin in the it's a trans configuration is more water soluble. There is a mistake. Bilirubin in the trans configuration is more water soluble. Let's know about bilirubin metabolism. Here you can see the image. We can start from the left side. There is a circle, red color circle, which is the image showing red blood cell, and this red blood cell is senescent red blood cells. So when this senescent means it's old, or highly old red blood cells or damaged red blood cells. So it is uptaken by phagocyte, and it destroys the senescent red cell and releases hemoglobin. The hemoglobin is further broken down into heme and globin. So globin is further digested or broken down into amino acids, which is reused in the body, whereas heme releases its iron, and then the remnant of the heme will be converted to bilirubin in the phagocyte. Now the phagocyte releases the bilirubin in the blood, and in the blood you can see there is albumin which binds to the bilirubin, because bilirubin is insoluble in water. So for its transportation it requires a carrier protein. Albumin here acts as a carrier protein, and albumin, when it binds with the bilirubin, so it is taken to the hepatocyte, which is the liver cell, for further conjugation, further metabolism. Now in the hepatocyte, the bilirubin is uptaken, and the free bilirubin, when it enters into the hepatocyte, so in the presence of glucuronic acid, it becomes conjugated bilirubin, and the conjugated bilirubin now is able to excrete through the bile. So this is what the summary of the bilirubin metabolism we have seen. Let's know what is the generation of bilirubin, how bilirubins are generated. The senescent RBCs break down liberating hemoglobin. So this is the first step in bilirubin metabolism. Senescent RBC means the old RBC is broken down, which releases its hemoglobin. From hemoglobin, globin chains and heme are separated. So there are two components of hemoglobins. One is a heme, another is a globin, and the globin chains are separated from the heme. Fate of globin chains. What happens with the globin chains? So globin chains are hydrolyzed into amino acids, and the amino acids are reused in the body. Now heme is further broken into porphyrin and iron, where iron is reused or utilized by the body, and the porphyrin ring is broken down to release bilirubin. This occurs in reticuloendothelial cells of liver, spleen, and bone marrow. There is a spelling mistake. This occurs in reticuloendothelial cells of liver, spleen, and bone marrow. So uh, we have reticuloendothelial cells, which is one of the system which provides immunity to our body, and it contains different protective cells present in the different tissues, and the cells are very specific. And so reticuloendothelial cells of liver, cells, spleen, and bone marrow, they are capable of uptaking the senescent red blood cells and liberating the bilirubin. Approximately 35 mg of bilirubin is formed from 1 gram of hemoglobin. So this is the expected, generation of hemoglobin, bilirubin from 1 gram of hemoglobin. 35 mg from 1 gram of hemoglobin, and 6 gram of hemoglobin is broken down per day, which will release approximately 250 mg of bilirubin. From myoglobin and other heme containing proteins, another 50 mg of bilirubin is formed. So we can see here that 250 mg of bilirubin is released from 6 gram of hemoglobin every day, whereas 50 mg of bilirubin is released from non-hemoglobin molecules like myoglobin and other heme containing proteins. So overall, we have a total of 300 mg of bilirubin is formed every day, of which 80% is from destruction of whole red blood cells, 10% from ineffective erythropoiesis, and 10% from degradation of myoglobin and heme containing proteins. Transport to liver. So the bilirubin which is formed now, it should be transported to liver for further metabolism. The liver plays the central role in the further disposal of the bilirubin, and the bilirubin formed in the reticuloendothelial cells is insoluble in water. So this is the problem, that how can it be transported, because it's insoluble in water. The lipophilic bilirubin found bound to plasma albumin is transported to liver. So this is the solution for this. It's insoluble in water. The nature is insoluble in water, and it has a lipophilic property. It's lipid like molecules. So when it binds with the plasma albumin, so now it can be transported to liver in the complex form through the blood. So this is the what we get, albumin plus bilirubin, we get albumin bilirubin complex. So one molecule of albumin can bind 2 molecules of bilirubin here, and 100 ml of plasma can transport up to 25 mg of bilirubin. So this is what the expected um, estimation of the the bilirubin that can be transported in 100 ml of plasma. And the liver uptake bilirubin from albumin bilirubin complex. So the liver usually uptake the free bilirubin, not the albumin. Okay, bilirubin is separated from this complex and uptaken by the liver cells, the hepatocyte. Now conjugation in liver, it's very important. We can see here inside the liver what happens. The bilirubin, in the presence of one enzyme called UDP glucuronide transferase, this is converted to bilirubin monoglucuronide. Okay, and this enzyme, require bilirubin and UDP glucuronic acid. Okay, so UDP glucuronic acid in the presence of bilirubin makes bilirubin monoglucuronide and UDP, and this is the specific enzyme which catalyzes the reaction. The product we have got is a bilirubin monoglucuronide. Now bilirubin monoglucuronide again binds with another molecule of UDP glucuronic acid in the presence of the same enzyme, ATP glucuronyl transferase, and we will get again bilirubin diglucuronide, and this is what the UTP is released. So the first carbon of glucuronic acid, what happens? The glucuronic acid, the first carbon is combined with the carboxyl group of propionic acid of bilirubin molecule. So propionic acid is a side chain in the bilirubin. So propionic acid has a carboxyl group. This propionic acid carboxyl group usually binds with the first carbon of glucuronic acid. So this is the what happens actually in the structural reaction. If you focus now, the bilirubin is conjugated glucuronic acid here. Okay, the bilirubin is conjugated glucuronic acid. Then conjugated bilirubin becomes water soluble, and 80% of bilirubin becomes diglucuronide form here. Okay, and 20% become monoglucuronide form. So this is the what usually occurs in the liver, that during conjugation 80% bilirubins become diglucuronide form, and the 20% become monoglucuronide form. Excretion of bilirubin to bile. The water soluble conjugated bilirubin is excreted in the bile by an active process. So this is the process by which the water soluble, or what we say conjugated bilirubin make an excrete in the bile, and it is a rate limiting step in the catabolism of heme. So it can control the catabolic process of the heme metabolism, and it's a rate limiting step. If it is not being excreted to the bile, so the entire procedure, the entire reactions that takes place of breakdown and conjugation will be stopped. The conjugated bilirubin reaches the intestine through the bile. So this is what happens. This is the fate of the conjugated bilirubin. The conjugated bilirubin mixes into the bile, and through the bile, it goes to the intestine. What is the fate of conjugated bilirubin in the intestine? Now, if the conjugated bilirubin goes into the intestine, what is the fate? Intestinal bacteria deconjugate the conjugated bilirubin to free bilirubin now. So intestinal bacteria has a beta glucuronidase, and this beta glucuronidase enzyme has the ability to deconjugate again into the free bilirubin. There is a spelling mistake in the beta. Beta is a beta. Okay, so this free bilirubin, which has a 36 hydrogen atom, is further reduced to colorless tetrapyrroleurobilinogen. So free bilirubin is reduced to urobilinogen here. Okay, and then after that, the further reduction of the vinyl substituents group of urobilinogen leads to formation of mesobilinogen and stercobilinogen. So here you have to understand that the free bilirubin is reduced to urobilinogen, and urobilinogen is further reduced to mesobilinogen and stercobilinogen. Okay, so basically in the urobilinogen, the vinyl group, the vinyl side chain usually is reduced. Okay, and we get mesobilinogen and stercobilinogen as a result. The stercobilinogen is mostly excreted through the fecal material. So it is expected that 250 to 300 mg per day, the stercobilinogens can be excreted through the blood, through the fecal material. Now, intrahepatic circulation. What is intrahepatic circulation? 20% of urobilinogen is reabsorbed from the intestine and returned to the liver by portal blood. So this is you have to understand that once we get urobilinogen in the intestine, so the fate of the urobilinogen is either it can be excreted through the fecal material, or 20%, it is expected that 20% of the what the urobilinogen has that generated is again reabsorbed in the blood through the intestine, and it can return to the liver by portal blood circulation. The urobilinogen is again re-excreted. Okay, again re-excreted means this again intrahepatic circulation takes place. So this is what the again re-excretion of the urobilinogen, again it reaches to the intestine, and again it is metabolized, or again it is excreted. A small fraction of urobilinogen may can pass through the blood, and it is excreted in urine. So what we have understand that 20% of the urobilinogen is reabsorbed, it entered into the liver, and through the liver again it is re-excreted through the same channel, it mixed into the bile, and it reaches the intestine. But a small fraction of urobilinogen which reaches to the liver usually passes through the blood and is now can be excreted in the urine. Less than 4 mg per day urobilinogen is excreted in urine. This is the amount of urobilinogen which can be excreted in the urine every day. The final excretion: urobilinogen and stercobilinogen are both colorless compounds, and they are oxidized to colored products by atmospheric oxidation. When these two molecules are oxidized, then it may become color compound. Urobilinogen become urobilin, and stercobilinogen become stercobilin. So urobilinogen, when it is oxidized, it has a the new product we call as urobilin. It has a 42 hydrogens. Stercobilinogen, when it is oxidized, it is converted to stercobilin and it has a 46 hydrogen. And this urobilin and stercobilin are a colored compound. The normal color of urine and feces is due to the this above compounds, what we say, urobilin and stercobilin. So we have studied today the bile pigment metabolism, or what we say, bilirubin metabolism.